The most expensive aspect of this process is the cost of the methanol. It takes 20% by volume of the amount of waste vegetable oil that you're making. So if I make a 100-gallon batch of waste vegetable oil, I need 20 gallons of methanol to make that. The current cost of methanol, this is up to today's cost, is $3.25 a gallon. So it costs me about $65 of methanol to make 100 gallons of biodiesel. With the methanol and the lye and the proper mixture, actually converts this into a fuel. That you're actually making biodiesel fuel with this process. There's no, I did absolutely no conversion on my truck. I've got a Ford F-350 with a Power Stroke diesel, a V8 Power Stroke diesel. I did absolutely nothing to it except for take my nozzle and stick it in a tank and fill it up. And the first part of the process is to pump the oil into this main tank. And what we do is we use two pumps to pump the oil in the tank. We put one pump into the storage tank and we pump it through the other pump and through these two filters. These two primary filters actually filter the oil to a further state, get any small finer particles out of the oil, and that goes into here. Now this is where the process begins, where you need to measure how much you want to put in here. Most of the time when I make it, I make 100 gallons at a time. With George's help, we labeled, there's numerous valves in here, so we labeled and numbered all the valves, and I've got like a little brief sheet that goes through the whole process. So the first part of the process is to open valves 2, 3, 6, and 7, all others closed, and then plug in pump number 3. I've got 3 different pumps here. Real simple process here. The pumps are labeled also. I plug in pump number 3, which is this pump here. This sucks the oil in, pumps it through here, through the filters, fills in the tank. By closing the valves, you're closing the few valves, you're just circulating the oil into this major tank. That's the very first step of the process. The next part of the process is you're going to close all the valves. Then you're going to open valves 2, 3, 5, and 7 and plug in pumps 1 and 2. That's going to circulate the oil. And all you want to do is you're just getting mixing the oil up. You let the oil circulate for about 5 minutes. The next part of the process is the tritation test. And the tritation test is you want to test, basically it's testing the quality of the oil. That determines how much lye that you want to put into the methanol to make the reactions. I take a little bitty syringe, I take 1 milliliter of oil out of the tank, the raw vegetable oil, put it in a cup. I put 10 milliliters of alcohol, 5 drops of phenolphthalein. You mix it up in a cup. Then you take about 3 milliliters of sodium hydroxide. And this is where you need to really be careful. You start dropping in the sodium hydroxide 1 milliliter at a time, or half a milliliter at a time, and stirring it. When it reacts, it's going to turn a bright purple color. However many milliliters it takes to make the reaction. If it takes a half a milliliter, 1 milliliter, that's part of the equation. Then we use a little sheet here, the biodiesel form. And basically what it does is it's a formula to figure out how much of the sodium hydroxide you need to put into the methanol to cause the reaction to make biodiesel. So basically the formula is the gallons of waste vegetable oil, the tritation milliliters, like how many milliliters it took to make this reaction. And then the formula is 3.5 plus the milliliters of tritation drops times 3.7584. Come up with that number. You times the gallons of waste vegetable oil. That's going to equivalent to the amount of grams of lye that you need to make the reaction. You put that amount plus 200 grams. You add 200 grams of lye for non-reaction. This is the last filtration part of the whole process, and this filters make sure that any particle that may have gotten by the rest of the system is cleaned, taken out before it goes into your vehicle or your boat. This is one of the additions I put on the pump, and this is I've got a quick disconnect hose, and I take this with me sometimes because some places they have their collection of oil is into a big tank. And what we do is we take these drums with us and take this pump, and we'll suck it out of their tank into the drums and come here and pump it into our drums into our storage tank. Okay, this is the very first part of the process. This is my collection tank. We put the oil in and we store it and we let it sit for approximately 2 to 3 weeks. But what it does is all the solids fall to the bottom, including water also goes to the bottom. So what I use is this pump here. This pump has a telescoping suction pipe. We set it to a depth off of the bottom. So what we want to do is suck the oil from the upper levels. The clean waste vegetable oil is what we're after. Most of the batches that I make 100 gallons at a time. It's a pretty simple process. This is the additional piece that I added to the system to make it work a little bit more efficiently. It's just a fuel transfer pump. Plugs right in and start pumping. This tank right now has about 175 gallons of oil in it. You need to take some type of vegetable oil, whether it be peanut oil, soybean oil, some type of vegetable oil is the only thing that will work that will convert into biodiesel. For every gallon of waste vegetable oil you have, you can make 1 gallon of biodiesel. We just simply take it out, set it in the tank, and position it where we're sucking off the top layer of the oil. We want the clean oil that's been gravity filtered. Using the formula that I was talking about, the tritation formula, you come up with the grams of lye that you need to make this conversion according to the quality of your waste vegetable oil. We mix it into this tank, we stir it up, we get it completely dissolved. It'll form a chemical reaction. You will actually feel the tank get a little warm. Once it gets in, it makes this chemical reaction. Then we start cracking the valves with the oil flowing through the tanks. We crack the valves and we slowly bleed it into the waste vegetable oil. That process takes about 20 minutes or so, and then we let that mix for about 1 hour. That will cause the reaction. We let it sit for a 12-hour period, and then during that 12-hour period, the methanol with the lye mixture in it will start the conversion of the waste vegetable oil into biodiesel. It'll filter it out and it'll pull out the bottom. The waste product of this is glycerin, which is the main ingredient in soap. So it's a biodegradable, non-harmful product.